Welcome to Navigating Your 20s. I'm your host, Jess Hugo, and I am so excited to have you here. I'm an online personal trainer and nutritionist, but honestly, underneath it all, I am just a girl who is struggling, thriving, and surviving somehow all at once. So if this is you, you are not alone. If you want all the juicy tea on what it's like to be a girl navigating her 20s, I'm talking relationships, health, fitness, social life, work, and everything in between, then you're in the right place.
Good morning, queens. We are starting hard and fast today because I know you're struggling. I know you're stuck in this mindset right now of I need to be perfect in order to lose weight. I need to be perfect to be toned. I can't do it because I don't have the perfect routine. I don't have the perfect lifestyle. I don't have the perfect job. And there's so many barriers in the way, which I feel like are becoming ever so present considering the weather lately. I don't know what to call it. The mid-year wobbles, the mid-year freezing cold freak out. I don't even know what to call it, but there is something going on. There is something in the air. I don't know if it's just because it's so cold. I don't know, but motivation is dropping. We are putting our health and fitness goals on the back burner. We are not wanting to do the things that we set out to do at the start of the year. And I've already talked so heavily on this in a recent episode for the mid-year reset, but I want to talk more on the perfection side of things because I know a lot of you have been struggling. So I'm going to call you forward. I know you're feeling so burnt out chasing this health and fitness goal. You're chasing this weight loss goal and it's becoming hard. You feel like you're hustling 24/7. You feel like you're in this state of, I have to go to the gym. I have to go for my afternoon run. I have to work all day and then meal prep. And it's like almost in this space of, I have to instead of I get to, because you're stuck in trying to be perfect. So you're hustling 24/7, you're skipping meals, you're obsessing over your next meal, you're obsessing over what you can fit in your calories and macros for the day, you're obsessing over if your macros are hit 100%, if you're hitting your protein, do you need that expensive protein powder? And there's so much point in this perfectionism that you then spiral and you're like, well, fuck this, I don't even want to do it anymore. And I want to start with the first thing. What type of person are you when it comes to your health and fitness goals? Are you the type of person that thinks you can do it on your own? And when I say think you can do it on your own, I mean like when you set out to it, you're like, yeah, I'm good, I can do it on my own. Not that you can't do it on your own, but it's like, okay, I have the thought process that I know what I'm doing. I have the tools, I know how to do it on my own. Or you're the type of person that's like, oh, I've had a coach before, but I'm not 100% sure that I know what I'm doing. Like, what type of person are you? I want you to start there because that is going to tell you where you need to go from there. If you're the type of person that's like, okay, I've been in coaching capacities before and I know how much I thrive in them, I really need that level of motivation, you should be leaning back into that coaching capacity. I've had a lot of clients come, go, and then come back, which is so funny to me. And I always say to them, you would be better off staying than leaving, kind of having things fall and not really work out exactly how they wanted and then coming back. And I think it's because a lot of us think, okay, well, I'm going to be perfect for 16 weeks. I'm going to get in a deficit. I'm going to work with coach and I'm going to be on for 16 weeks. And then after that, I can take a break and do a little reset. What happens when you take a break and do that little reset? Your perfectionism that you were so committed to has fallen off. You feel a bit burnt out because you've gone so hard and fast for the last couple of months. And then you start gaining back the weight. You start falling into old habits and routines. And it's like, what is the disconnection here? And I'm very heavy on the long-term coaching. And that's what I mean when I talk about it. I've been celebrating 1 year with so many of my clients recently, which is actually funny because I only actually launched Toned and Trendy in, was it July? I want to say June or July. I can't really remember. It was the thick of fucking winter. I know that. But I had girls come in early on a little beta practice program. That's how long they've stayed for. They've stayed since the practice program. Is that not insane? So when I say heavy on the long-term coaching, it's because I've got proven results with the girls that I have who've been there for a year. And that doesn't mean a year of being perfect. That doesn't mean a year of weight loss. That means a year of just being consistent, showing up in the gym, making those lifestyle habits and having someone in your corner. And it's never going to be perfect. If I break down a 16-week plan for you, which I do give strategy 16-week roadmaps in my course that I do, my one-on-one course. But if I was to break it down for you, no 16 weeks is ever perfect. You don't know where you're going to be in 16 weeks. You barely know what you're doing in 2 weeks time, right? So when I say, give me a idea of how your deficit's going to go, you can't. That's why it's never this thing of I need to be perfect for 16 weeks. Because if I break down your 16 weeks, you might get sick in there. at one point, especially in these winter seasons. You might have a social plan come up. One of your friends might have a major birthday. You might have an anniversary. Recently, we've had all the public holidays. Like, things always pop up and it can never be perfect. And that's why we get into that routine of being consistent and not going hard, fast, all of nothing and thinking, okay, I'm getting a coach, I'm going in a deficit, balls to the wall. That's what I mean when I say heavy on the long-term coaching, because it allows you to not be perfect. I think I've done this as well. I've been like, okay, I need to get a coach to get back on my shit, get in a deficit, get in a 6-week challenge, 8-week challenge, whatever the thing may be, and get back on my bullshit. And it doesn't really necessarily work like that, because as soon as that challenge is up, you're like, oh, fuck, I need a break. I need to reset. Whereas I can see myself with my clients in the long-term coaching, they're literally in there and we go through the ebbs and flows. One of my girls messaged me the other day and she was like, I'm going to miss check-in because I've had a funeral, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that's actually okay. And those things come up. That happens. That is literally life. And that is the whole point of coaching. It's a lifestyle reset. But if you're always coming in and out and looking for the new challenge, the new coach, the fancy workout, it's never going to work. And also the thing is, when I have girls come back, I can see their old stats and I'm like, what happened in this time? And 9 times out of 10, it's not for me to call you out. It's for me to understand what's going on. And a lot of the time it's dropping off completely, losing all the habits, just being so off it, because no one's there to keep you accountable. And it's really heavy on the lifestyle. What's going on in your life that's causing you stresses? What is prominent right now? I've talked about this recently. So many of my clients have been going through breakups. So many of my clients have been going through job changes. So many of my clients have just been going through family issues. As I just said, the funeral, like family deaths, like all of these things, right? And what does that do to your deficit? Shit might hit the wall. Does that mean that you fall off completely? No, this is the point of coaching. I literally said to one of my girls on Monday, I was like, I'm going to put your cows up because she has placement for uni. She's just had her 21st birthday. She's got so much going on. She hasn't been having time to train. I was like, I'm just going to put your cows up a bit so that you have that room to eat that much if you need, because there's so much going on with placement. I don't care right now about your deficit. I care about your habits and giving you something to stick to, because otherwise what happens? Food noise gets really loud. We are doing so much that we're feeling really burnt out with outside of health and fitness, and we can't be perfect. But sometimes in a deficit phase, or when we know we're actively following deficit cows, we feel like we need to be perfect. And I've talked about this before, where you're in the mindset that you're in a deficit, but you're not eating a deficit, which is okay, but you're convinced in your brain that you're in a deficit. And then that kind of pushes you to think, I've been dieting for so long, and it gives you that deficit fatigue. So this is exactly why I go in and make those changes. And yes, it's a collaboration, but I, at the end of the day, am like, okay, I know that you're needing that little bit of a break right now. Let's do a little reset. I know things are going on. Let's do a little bit of a reset. And that's what a good coach does. I'm not going to push you to be in a deficit, even if your goal is to lose more weight. If you give me pushback, no. Now is not the time. We need to take a little moment and breathe and be consistent. But if you're deciding, oh, but I only want to lose weight, like I'm going to cancel because I haven't been losing weight, or whatever the thing may be, it's actually never going to change anything, because it's about working with your life stresses. Your life stresses are still going to be there, whether you're inside a coaching container or not. So that's the whole point of being perfect, looking for perfectionism in order to be toned. And it's like, okay, the problem is the lie we've been sold on social media. The problem is everyone on social media talks so heavily about how you need to be grinding, hustling 24/7. You need to be perfect. More equals more calories burnt. More equals better. And I've talked about this a little bit, thinking on things like F45 and things. We get told that, fitness classes are the best way to lose weight because we're going to burn more calories, and it's really high intensity and we're getting our heart rate up. And yes, that might be true. Our heart rate is up, but we're working really hard and fast for a short period of time. And it's very similar with going balls to the wall, all or nothing mindset, right? It's like you wake up on a Monday morning, you're going hard, you're doing your cardio, you're doing your steps, you're doing your session. Come Wednesday, you can barely get your session in because you're feeling fucked because of how hard you pushed on Monday. And it's like, where can we make sure that that is equal across the week so that we can show up every single day? Sometimes I have some clients say to me, I want to train more, I want to do more. And I'm like, but you don't need to do more. You're going to be hungrier doing more. It's going to make your deficit even more difficult. And then on the days that you don't feel like showing up, if we've adjusted cows to cater to more sessions and then you don't show up, you're falling into a bit of a trap zone, a death zone, if you will. So you're better off actually stepping back and thinking, okay, I'm actually just going to work smarter rather than harder with my calorie deficit. I don't need to be perfect. Sometimes it's literally just cleaning up your nutrition a little bit, 80% whole foods, 20% soul foods, making sure that we're actually hitting our steps, doing a little bit of cardio, and we see those results. And right now, you might be thinking, okay, Jess, but I'm doing my steps and I'm doing my sessions and I'm doing my cardio and I'm not seeing results. Come back to your tracking. Come back to your socializing. Now, I have so much to say on this because you can socialize and you can enjoy a date night. And you don't have to sacrifice going on date night to get toned, but we need to be strategic, which I want to talk more on. But I want to talk about a time that I've been in a deficit. I've been pushing really hard and I've not seen results. I've been sacrificing things and I feel like nothing is changing. There's been times where I've weighed quite heavy on the scales compared to what I know my lowest weight is, like 4 or 5 kilos up from my lowest weight. So I'm like, I know that I can get my body to that weight. Like I know that I have fat to lose. I have been doing cardio, I've been doing steps, I've been doing my sessions, I've been nailing everything, I've been in my deficit, I've been really strict and like not having any sweet treats. You guys know how I feel about sweet treats, like doing the most. And sometimes the scale will not move. Sometimes the measurements will not move. Sometimes I'll be like nitpicking my photos to the max and think, what? I don't see any changes here, right? But there is always something underneath that is showing change. For example, one of my pairs of jeans went from kind of tight, a bit uncomfortable to sit in, to literally gapping. Meanwhile, I was the same weight within 300 grams on the scales. I'd only lost about a centimeter in my measurements. And I literally was like, I'm so confused because I'm doing everything and nothing is showing any sort of anything. Like I was doing my photos as well and I was like, oh, maybe I can see a little bit there, but like barely. I'm talking barely. And I know you've been in this situation, girl. I know you've been in this situation where you're doing the most, you're checking everything, you're taking all the data and nothing's changing. And I was like, what's going on? And then I didn't even think of trying on anything because I wasn't letting it beat me up, but I was just a little bit like confused because I'm a data-driven girl. So I don't really care about the scale, but I care about measurements. I care about photos. I care about looking at your week across the whole entire week and thinking, okay, how did you go with hitting your calories? How did you go on your macros? Is something missing? Because sometimes it's a 1%. Did you have enough water? Did you have enough fiber? Like such little minuscule details that you need to almost go over with a fine-tooth comb. And I think sometimes when we do run our own deficits, I mean, for me, it's my job, so I love this shit and I enjoy it, but it can be complicated. You're probably thinking, fuck, I've never looked at my average calories. I've never looked at my fiber. I've never considered my sleep and my water and things like that. That's exactly what coaching comes into. That's what I'm talking about, where we try to be so perfect, but we actually need someone else's eyes on it because it can get emotional. I've talked about this before. Deficits can be quite emotional. And then we start nitpicking little things and make it about us when it's not about us. Anyway, I tried on this pair of jeans. I didn't actually try them on. I went to go out in them. And then I was like, oh, these are so loose. These are so loose. And I haven't worn them, so it's not like I've stretched them or anything. And it's like, that's the silver lining of it all. Maybe the scale just doesn't want to move right now, even though I know I'm a few kilos above what I know my lowest weight to be. But I have data, right? I keep all my data in my notes. And I know that last time that I was at my lower weight, I was at a similar body fat percentage, interestingly enough, which means I've put on more muscle now. But I don't consider myself bulky at all. I know a lot of us are quite concerned that when we put on muscle and we're doing strength training that we're going to look bulky. I don't think I look bulky at all. I think I look so normal, toned, nice, but not bulky. I just think I look like your normal average girl, you know, that does work out but isn't like a bodybuilder, if that makes sense. So it's like, where have you pushed really hard but you've fucked with yourself by getting in your head and being really emotional? I want you to think on that because you might be in that phase right now. You might be like, she is literally describing my life. I need to go try on that pair of jeans. But equally, have discernment that sometimes you do need to pull back. Are you overtraining? Are you doing too much cardio? Are you doing too many steps? Are you not eating enough? Like, I really want you to dig deep to where you're at right now. Rate your efforts on a scale of 1 to 10 and tell me. So how can we actually transform your body without without stressing yourself out, without feeling like you have to go really hard, go really fast, be in this really aggressive deficit? Like, what can we do? Two ways to go about it. As I said, I do a 16-week roadmap, so this is how I'm going to kind of talk about it. We know that we're never going to be perfect in those 16 weeks. We know that we want to have something to look forward to. We know we want to have the goal. It gets really mundane eating the same thing all the time. Something I always say to my girls is either a date night every single weekend or a takeout free week, but making sure that we have takeout on the weekend. So I'll be like, takeout free week, Monday to Friday, limit it so that we can be having that freedom and space on the weekends. Or another example is like a fully untracked day. It just depends. Everyone's different. Sometimes for me, I'll do a untracked day once a month. Maybe I'll do a sweet treat like bakery treats. I'll track it but as best I can, but like an eating out section once a month. Maybe sometimes, depending on the person and the deficit and the goal over the 16 weeks, I'll do a weekly thing. You need to hone into, okay, what's my timeline here? Not that you necessarily need a timeline, but say you have an event coming up. What's my timeline here? What's my weight loss goal? How am I going to map it out? What do I have socializing on? Because the reason 9 times out of 10 your deficit isn't successful is because so much comes up that you're pushed out of your deficit. I know you're probably perfect Monday to Thursday. Friday night, you're going out for dinner with the girls. Saturday, you're going out for lunch with your boyfriend. Sunday, you've got family at your dinner's house. Now that's 3 days that we've eaten, quote unquote, off track. And now we've just fucked it. We're in our maintenance again. And it's like, what is the point of being in that deficit? And I know sometimes things come up, like dinner with your family, things come up. Dinner with the girls, whatever, things come up. How can we enjoy dinner with the girls, still stick in our deficit, and be strategic over the week to ensure that we don't push out of our deficit into a maintenance phase? That's what I want you to think on, because you're probably thinking that's literally what I do. I'll be perfect Monday to Thursday. I hit my macros. I hit everything perfectly. I'm on my shit. I've got my steps. I've got my sessions, but it starts falling off Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Is it potentially because you've pushed your sessions to the back end of the week and thought, but I can still get them in. I need to tick all 4 off or 5 off, however many you do. I need to be perfect and get them all in. Or can it be a little bit messy? Can you go on a Tuesday night, maybe with only 50% energy, but even though you only had 50% energy, that's 100% for starters, but even though it wasn't perfect, you got it in. Whereas if you left it to Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you know you have events coming up. You know that you get busy on the weekend. So it's like, how can we actually be strategic, have that balance of enjoying that date night, but ensuring we still tick off those 1%ers? Because it doesn't need to be perfect. And I understand, like, so I've been the same. I'll be like, oh, I like feel like I have the shittest energy right now. My session's going to be dog shit. You don't actually know how bad it will be. Also, equally, you have the freedom to change it up. You might go in with the intention to do legs and then swap to upper body because all the leg machines are taken. Or maybe you'll go in with the intention to just do your strength training session and decide, I'm going to make it a cardio day because I just do not feel like doing that. So much can turn with how you feel your session, the music or podcast or whatever that you listen to, and how you actually get into that energy and zone. If you talk yourself into a bad mindset around it and think it's not going to be perfect, it's going to suck, I'm too tired, I can't be bothered, of course it's going to suck. But if you think, okay, I'm a little bit tired, but I'm going to show up in whatever capacity I have to give today, it's not going to be perfect, and that's actually okay. That's okay because I'm still ticking it off. And this is what is holding most of you girls back. You're telling yourself, I need to be perfect. I can only show up if I have 100% to give. I need to be on my shit 24/7. I need to be in the cute outfit. You don't want to know how many times I've rolled up to the gym in trackies, a jumper, a puffer, and I literally look like I am hibernating for the season. Equally, I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. And time and place, again, there is a time and a place for your cute outfit, but is your cute outfit going to get you to the results? No. If you can't be, because you know when you have those days where you don't want to put on that tight, cute outfit, even though you know it's the cutest outfit, but it's so tight, it's just like suffocating you, and then you're like, well, fuck, I'm not going. No. Show up in the trackies and puffer. I swear by this, because those less than perfect sessions get long-term results. Equal long-term habit stacking. Equal long-term lifestyle changes. And if you don't know what habit stacking is, as I was saying before, it's when you go and multitask and do different things at once. So it's like if you decide to do the cardio day, then maybe you can do some reading. Maybe you can listen to a podcast. You can stack together what you're doing at once. And I've really lent into habit stacking this year. And sometimes it's not perfect. Sometimes I'll be like, oh, what'd that podcast say again? And I don't remember every single thing. But it doesn't need to be perfect. We really need to get out of this headset, this mindset of telling ourselves that there's one way to do something. There really isn't. And we just need to build up those habits of what are our bare minimums. For example, as I said with the podcast and the book, if you're saying to yourself, okay, well, I want to read 20 pages or 3 chapters a day or whatever your goal might be, where can you make that a non-negotiable but stack it in your routine? So with this building your bare minimum, 3 to 5 non-negotiables that you're going to tick off every day. And it can be super simple, like I'm going to make my bed. That can be the first one. I'm going to journal every single morning. I'm going to listen to a podcast or like a self-development podcast or a self-help book or something like that, whether it's audiobook, reading, whatever it is, I'm going to do that. I'm going to tick off my step goal, whether that's 6K steps, 8K steps, whatever the thing may be. And I'm going to fuel my body. See how simple that was? And what's fuel your body? It doesn't need to be a deficit. It can be maintenance. It can be a surplus, as long as you're actually fueling and making sure that you're having enough food. And it's like, okay, what about if it's just like I have a high protein meal for lunch? I don't skip breakfast. See how simple they can be? They don't need to be, I need to make sure I get my 1 hour workout in. I need to get all my steps done. I need to get outside. There's too much going on. It's giving busy brain. If you live in a major city or you have like a CBD 9 to 5, you already have a busy brain. You already have a busy brain. If you're studying at uni, you have a retail job. Retail's very overstimulating. That's why I'm saying retail. And you have hobbies, you have a partner, there's so much going on. You have a busy brain. So why are we overcomplicating our health and fitness journey and trying to be so perfect? We can't add more load to our busy brain. We need to actually take a step back and think, okay, today my non-negotiable is I'm going to be having breakfast. I'm going to be ensuring I eat lunch with good protein in it. Just little 1%ers that we can do that make our life so much better. On top of that, with the socializing, I want you to socialize even if you're in a deficit, but you don't need to connect socializing with eating. For example, I'll say to my friends, especially in a deficit, let's get a coffee, let's go for a walk, let's catch up. You get your steps in, you're just having a coffee, and it's social time. Do you know how important laughter is? Connection is? Overall happiness? Do you know how stress-free I feel when I'm just laughing with my friends and going on a walk with my friends and just chatting the absolute most random shit? That's not perfect. That is not perfect. We're just going on a rogue walk. Like, I didn't plan that, but it's so perfect for what you're needing. You're needing time out, time to reduce the busy brain, time to actually just step into having a laugh with the girls. And you don't need to choose between cocktails and abs, dinner with the girls and being skinny, toned, wearing those perfect jeans. But let's be strategic with it. How can we make it that little bit easier? Do we need to have 5 cocktails or can we just have 1? Do we need to eat a main meal, an entree and a dessert, or can we just have a main? Can we share with a friend? How can we be that little bit more strategic and maybe even messy? How can we be messy and just make it a little bit messier, but not busy? Because you can be messy and not have things be perfect. Messy, not perfect, makes sense, but it doesn't need to be busy. It can actually just be to have a laugh, to have some fun, to socialize. And if you don't get your steps on the day, that's actually okay. You just pick it back up the next day. Get out of this perfectionism mindset. You actually need to look after yourself. That is where recovery comes in as well. And it's so important to actually be sleeping, looking after the things you need, and having intentional rest. It's so important and necessary. I want you to go and audit your week. Where are you lacking strategy in your week of how can I actually set out my sessions a little bit better so that I'm not chasing my tail Friday, Saturday, Sunday, trying to tick them all off? Then I am not recovering. I'm not getting enough sleep. My muscles hurt because I'm just trying to chase my tail at that back end of the week. Where can you make your brain feel a little bit less busy? Where can you start implementing little small daily non-negotiables, bare minimum tasks that will make you feel better? Don't doubt how good it is to journal. I get it. I used to all the time think, fuck, I'm not journaling. I don't have time for that. I'm so busy. You're never too busy to just write down for 5 minutes how you're feeling, to sit with your thoughts and actually regulate your nervous system. And I used to think this was also woo-woo as well. I used to think like that's so unnecessary until I got busier. until I felt like my brain was going to explode. It was so busy. It felt at full capacity. And I struggled with all of these things too. And I had to navigate that. I was like, I thought there was something wrong with me. Why can I not handle having such a busy brain? Why can I not handle all of these things that I feel so overstimulated? But it's actually super normal. But look at your week. Audit your routine and see, where am I making myself get stressed out? Where am I making my brain really busy? Where am I not giving my central nervous system the chance to regulate? Where am I actually so crazy with my sessions at the back end of the week that my body feels exhausted? There was one point that every single Sunday I would sleep for the longest all week, like Sunday through into Monday, because I was so overstimulated and overwhelmed. And by Sunday, my body was like, that's enough. That is literally enough. Where can you audit little tiny things and make little tweaks in your routine? And if you're like, fuck Jess, I actually am stuck, I need help, this is exactly what I do inside Toned and Trendy. That is literally exactly what I do. How to drop the 5 to 10 kilos without sacrificing date night. How to actually make a strategic roadmap to see how your deficit can look over 16 weeks. How you can actually drop body fat, get into a maintenance phase and live in maintenance, but still keep up your coaching and transform your body, because you can recomp at maintenance. And I would argue that maintenance is one of the most difficult phases to be in. And I fully understand, because I used to be like this as well. Why would I pay a coach to be in a maintenance phase? I can be in a maintenance phase myself. No, I've seen the best results being in a coaching space, doing that structured program and being in the maintenance phase, because maintenance, I would say, is harder than deficit until you know what you're doing. I could never nail maintenance before. Now, maintenance comes to me so easy. The old me would never think that I could eat 2,300 calories and stay the same weight on the scales, but actually change my body. And now that's my reality. And that's hard. That's hard. Think to yourself right now, would I ever be able to eat that much? Probably not, because you scared yourself into those 1,200 calorie deficits. You're getting burnt out. You're trying to be perfect. I teach you exactly how to lose the weight without being perfect. It can be a little bit messy. One of my clients, she's 6 weeks in with me. She's like 1 or 2 kilos down on the scale because we've actually just regulated her eating. She's not in a deficit though. Her body is completely transforming and recomping. Her waist has left the building. Her waist has come in so much. I posted her progress photos on my Instagram. They've come in so much. Her waist has come in so much, and she's like, this is insane. She sat on the fence to work with me probably for 6 to 8 months. And now she says to me her biggest regret is not coming in sooner. And I was like, you're the one that sat on the fence, babe. But it's the thing is, you need to have a conversation, actually see if you're vibing with being me inside my world with me, but if you're vibing with making change, if you're ready to actually grow, glow, and like do the damn work. Anyway, I feel like I've been ranting all the time, but if you took nothing from this, I want you to take one thing. Your deficit can be a little bit messy. Your health and fitness can be a little bit messy. Nothing in life is ever perfect. Hannah Montana already debunked that. Nobody's perfect. So if you're feeling a lot of pressure right now, I want you to take the pressure off and remember, it's really not that deep. It's how you show up every single day. If you have 1% to give your 1%, and that is 100%. Anyway, that is all from me. Rate the podcast 5 stars if you're loving it. Share it with your friends. Share it on your story. Tag me. All the support really, really helps me grow and get the message out there. And that is all I'm trying to do. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Follow the podcast as well. I see you girls following. Love it. And I will talk to you all soon. Mwah. That's a wrap on another episode of Navigating Your 20s. Thank you so much for joining me and taking the time to listen. If you enjoyed the conversation, vibes, and got something out of today, please feel free to send me a DM with any key takeaways and feedback, or share on your socials and tag me so we can connect. If you liked today's episode and you're wanting more from me, you can find me on all socials at success.withjess.